It's another week. It's another comeback. The Kansas City Chiefs are leading the AFC West. We all know this, but now the rest of the nation is starting to catch up. Is Patrick Mahomes the leader for MVP today? We're going to talk about that. Who's coming back? What happened in this ball game? And whose performances stood out today on Locked On Chiefs?
From the land of the free and the home of the Chiefs, this is the Locked On Chiefs podcast.
Welcome back to Celebration Monday. I hope you guys are doing well. We're recording on Monday. You'll hear this Monday night or Tuesday morning. We're brought to you by PrizePicks. You want to check them out. It's 2 to 5 players, and you can get up to 10 times your entry playing daily fantasy sports with a $100 promotion code at Locked On at PrizePicks.com from us. Check them out, and we'll tell you about more of them later. We have lots to go over. Obviously, an incredible comeback last night. Led by Patrick Mahomes, and all of a sudden the tail kind of turned this morning, and that's what I want to talk about to start the show. We're going to get into all the details, who played well, who didn't, and what were some of the hidden little treasures from last night later in the show. I'm Ryan Tracy, the founder of Rogue Analytics and Performance Consulting, as well as NFL 33 and RGR Football.
Just a couple of different places, aren't you? And I'm Chris Clark. Thank you for listening. We do appreciate it. Go leave us an iTunes review or Spotify. That works as well. Hit the like, sub, and get the notification bell on YouTube. We appreciate those as well. I know we want to talk about Patrick Mahomes with MVP, but your intro actually made me think about something that we didn't address last night that I want to for just 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Chiefs now have a 3-game division lead.
Yep.
They're the number 1 seed. There are 4 other teams that are 7-3. Kansas City is 8-2. Just want to specify that because I do think that's a big deal. They are 3 games up in the division with 7 to play and 5 games up on the Chargers and Broncos and Raiders.
Yeah, I mean I'm hesitant to say, hey, it's over that they have this. We will have a new shirt coming out that will actually list out all the divisional championships in a row. But I'm not ready to put 2022 on there yet, just because crazy stuff can happen. Am I being too superstitious?
No, I don't think you're being superstitious, but I will say if you look at the Chiefs' schedule, the only people that are going to beat and I need to be clear, I think that they can lose to the Bengals. That's the only game on the schedule that really worries me. Seahawks maybe a little bit, but the only other team that's going to beat them on their schedule is going to be the Chiefs. If they lose to any of the other teams, it's going to be because they didn't prepare for the game and they didn't get ready for whoever they're going to play. Because they got 2 games against the Broncos and a game against the Raiders, a game against the Rams, which is what's coming up this week. All of those should be games that they should just win. And a game against Houston. Houston's 1-8-1. That's another game that shouldn't be close. So
it's completely legit. Yeah, I mean, it's legit to feel that way, and it's legit to expect that. I think that what we saw today, national media, probably around everybody's water cooler if you went to work. If you're somebody like me that works from home, you see what goes on the national trends. It's like everyone had a revelation today. Oh, Patrick's still actually this good. Dan Orlovsky's talking about this. I mean, even Rex Ryan is telling everybody, hey, did you forget about him? Do you think he went anywhere? This isn't a surprise. This is what he does. Does it always work out? No, nobody's perfect. But in the end, I don't care if it's 13 seconds or 1 minute and 30 seconds. If you have Patrick Mahomes running your offense and you give him anything close to that amount of time, it's not a given, but it's always within the realm of possibility that they score again and take that ball game away from you.
Well, I'm not going to say it's a given, but I will tell you he is – I saw a stat, and I saw one of the stats I saw today is I think he's 9-6 in games where the Chiefs have trailed after the third quarter, which I guess is happened last night. I don't remember the scores going into the quarters. I'm sure that was the case. He's 9-6. The next closest person, he's 600. The next closest person that has the same or has anywhere close to the same amount of games that he's been in that situation is at like 357. No Montana, no Brady, none of them.
It's just crazy.
He's been in 15 of those games and he's won 3 more than he's lost.
And this is not to take away from Aaron Rodgers. He had a couple of good years, but I would contend that there was at least one season in there where maybe Patrick should have gotten it over him anyway. But now to hear everyone recognize that not only is he that good, but there's really no one that close. There was all this talk about Josh Allen overtaking him as the best quarterback in the league. There was all this talk about Jalen Hurts off to the fastest start. Oh, he really is the real thing. Like I told you the day he was drafted. Like all these people that
Tua.
want to just, don't even get me started on Tua. I mean, hey, let's have a whole season maybe first,
I understand and I get it. I'm just saying Tua is the other one that they're talking about.
Yeah. It flabbergasted me that everybody counts the guy out continually, much like when we hear that the Chargers are going to win the division every single year and never happens. Like it's the same kind of concept. And I just wanted to share my frustration and my internal chuckles, because when I turn on these people that have been blasting everyone else to be the best in the league, and all of a sudden they do a 180 based on a Sunday night football game when he's been playing well this whole season, it's like, have you just not been paying enough attention? He really is this guy.
He has been playing so well this season. It is crazy. He is number one in yards, number one in yards per game, number one in touchdowns. It's amazing what he's doing. And he's not getting the national credit that he deserves. He hasn't all season. He started to get it today. And I already know the shows you were watching because I actually saw the clips that you're talking about. So it's kind of funny that you bring those up. But the reality is that he has been this good all season long. He's deserved this kind of credit all season long. And to not get it, I mean, it is what it is. They're gonna learn at some point.
Yeah, they will. And it's going to take really putting the whole thing together for somebody to get on the train, because a car just isn't going to do it. But now I got to give you a word from our sponsors, Turo, because if a car will do it for you and whatever you're doing, that's the place to do it. It's the world's largest car sharing marketplace. With Turo, you can book any car you want wherever you want it from a community of local hosts. It's not a rental shop. It's not anywhere else. It's a huge selection of vehicles for just about any occasion or budget, any kind that you want, from an SUV like mud or truck all the way over to EVs that will cost you 5 cents to drive around. And it's private ownership. They play the host and they get you everything that you need. Every tip is backed. Every trip, that is backed by liability insurance, so you don't have to worry about that. Terms and conditions and exclusions always apply, but it's about you getting what you need. Forget the boring rental cars and find your drive at Turo.com. And then once you save that money, you might as well put it down in a way to make a little bit more. You might want to head on over and play a little bit of PrizePicks, because PrizePicks is our buddies are really doing the deal. The thing that we always kind of lay out there is it's about what you think is going to happen. Where's it going to go? Is Patrick Mahomes' line right now at 292 as I sit here today, 292.5, excuse me. All you got to do is go in there and pick, is he going to throw for more or is he going to throw for less? Pick 2 to 5 players and make those decisions and make your entry. Your entry can win up to 10 times the money that you put down, and you can play any sport that you like. You're not competing against other people. You're not setting different lineups. It's daily fantasy sports the way that you want it. It's easy. It's quick, under 60 seconds. And the fast and safe withdrawals make things even easier in 30 states plus Canada. And all you got to do is go download the app from any app store or go to prizepicks.com. That's the easiest way, and play daily fantasy sports. First-time users get 100% bonus deposit with our code Locked On. So if you put in 50, you get 50. If you put in 100, you get 100. And that's only with our code Locked On at prizepicks.com. Now, no quarterback can do everything alone. This conversation at this point has been no way to say that he's all by himself, because there's plenty of guys that are contributing to this team.
No, there really are. And I just want to say this really quick, because I was trying to look it up before we went to break. He has thrown 7 interceptions this year. His MVP year, he threw 12. He is on pace to be close to that. And if he continues playing the way he is playing right now, this team is going to be very difficult. And I'm glad you bring up the other people that are contributing, because yes, Travis Kelce is legitimately one of the best players that is playing in the league right now. He's leading the league in touchdown catches. He is a tight end, and he's 6th overall in yards. He's like 145 yards short already with 7 games to play. He's 145 yards short of going over 1,000 yards again for the 7th season in a row.
And where did we put the over-under at the beginning of the season? Was it 1,200 yards, did we say? We both took the over on it, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I don't remember where our number was, but that sounds about right. You start talking about, sorry to interrupt, but you start talking about other guys. Sky Moore showed up big, 4 big catches. And I want to give him credit as well on the punt returns, because it's not that he did anything spectacular, but he did what his job was. He went out there. He didn't catch the ball when he shouldn't have.
Mm-hmm.
He fielded the punt when he should have, and he held on to the ball. That is all that you really need from Sky Moore. Yes, it would be great for him to break one, but it is what it is. And I will say this on Pacheco. He had a fantastic game running the ball, but I guarantee you, if he's still returning kicks later this season, he will never forget that rule.
Yeah, that's true. And hey, I'll tell you something else he isn't going to forget. He had a great night running the ball. He's going to go back and go, how did Derwin James blow me up like that? So as good as he is, there's still room for improvement. But everybody's got to keep
grinding.
He's
not. Yeah, but that's why he's not out there on passing downs much.
Yeah.
And if he can get to that point, he becomes an all-around back, and he becomes a guy that can easily get 100 yards a game because of his running style and the way the Chiefs are running the ball. He's a guy that I think can be a 100-yard rusher. I'm not going to say game in, game out, but half the season at least.
Yeah.
Because I think they have the ability to run the ball, and he has the ability to do that. If he's able to be in on passing downs, that gives him the ability to mix it up, and people aren't going to know he's running the ball.
It gives you a two-way go. It gives pause to the front players that have to be responsible for where he goes. And he's not alone. Obviously, Travis had a heck of a night, right? Another 3-touchdown game, another 100-yard game. But it's not just Sky Moore. Kudos to Sky Moore. And we blew him up last night because it was such a breakout game for him. But you got 63. This was a game that Patrick didn't throw for his 399 that he's been on a streak of, right? It's 329. So, I mean, that's not a huge difference, but that's a good 20% pullback right there. So what you look at is not only did Travis get 115, Sky was 63, but you got 51 yards from Jody Fortson. You got 67 from Justin Watson, the 2 big body type guys. So it's not the uber separation. It's not, the trick play stuff. It's not the flat out speed of McCole and Tony and even the power of Juju. It's guys doing what they do, and Patrick being able to not only distribute the ball, but distribute it in a way that allows each guy and his strengths to really come to the forefront.
It's kind of funny. After the game last night, I had a friend of mine message me who's a Packers fan. He's like, so where did this tight end Watson come from? And I kind of chuckled because I'm like, well, he's a wide receiver, but I get it because he is a big body guy. He looks like he could be playing tight end because he's big enough to do it. But you're absolutely right. I mean, he's not going to be a guy that's going to be getting you a ton of separation. That's not his game. His game is using his body. But the key with both of those guys, and Fortson is a little bit different last night than it's been in the past, but the big difference with like a guy like Watson and in some of the ways that they've used Fortson in the past is Reed is scheming them open. Mm-hmm. I love what he is doing because he's attacking the same zone with multiple different routes, and it's killing defenses. Yeah. And they're going to continue to do that. And one of the things I think is funny, and I don't know, I'm sure you probably saw this, they won that game last night on the exact same play that they won the game against the Chargers in the exact same stadium, in the almost exact same scenario last year.
It's like Andy likes to call mesh or something. I don't know. I mean, hey.
Yeah. And he beat Derwin James to do it.
And he didn't get dumped on his butt. So I'm sure his podcast tomorrow will be very much happier than it was the last time he played Derwin James. But it takes protection to get there too. And I do want to touch base. Patrick only got sacked the one time, that big play that Pacheco had some trouble with there. But when you take a look back, it felt like he was getting hit over and over and over. And they got a good number of hits on him. The official hits, I think, were 4. I think PFF only has it at 2, but the total pressures given up was a little bit more different than usual. It was Wiley and Brown that gave up the most, but it was Wiley that seemed to struggle the most last night. They put a couple of them on Noah Gray because that's what they did is they brought Noah in to try to help out sometimes. And a lot of times it worked, not always.
How many did they put on Patrick? Or do they
they had 0 on Patrick last night.
Yeah, see, I disagree with that. There was a couple of different plays where he needs to get the ball out. I mean, I counted several different plays where he got pressure and got hit at the end, and he had 5 seconds to throw the ball. And I get that, sometimes you're trying to hit plays downfield, but you got to get the ball out. You can't put your offensive line in those positions.
Yeah, and that's fair. Who knows if this gets changed or modified upon review? The numbers are pretty raw at this stage, less than 24 hours later. So we'll see what comes of it. But we also have to highlight what happened on the defensive side of the ball. We're going to do that in the next segment.
And I'm going to tell you about our friends over at BetOnline. If you want to go put money on the line, you need to go check out BetOnline. BetOnline is the number one source for sports betting info, stats, news, and analysis. Get the odds and trends for every professional and amateur league out there, from football to basketball and soccer and esports. Which I'm still trying to figure out how you put money on those types of things. So Ryan, if you figure that out, you're going to have to let me know. They've got it all at betonline.net. And if you love sports podcasts, you can find those at BetOnline as well. We're the fastest and easiest way to get your betting fix. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more. BetOnline, where the game starts. It helps if you unmute yourself.
Yeah, every now and then, when I've had this coughing fit lately, so I try not to cough in your ear or the audience's. So kudos, folks. Sorry for the gap there, but it does remind me that you can't always be running at full speed on all cylinders. This particular ball game, you had Herbert, who I think it's not just Herbert, but it's his offensive line, and not everybody was getting pressure in a way that felt like it was all running. This was the first time where George Karlaftis didn't get multiple pressures in a game. He had been leading the rookie elite in the pass rushing department in creating pressure. Colin Saunders didn't get one either. They each had, what did they have? I think 13 and 16 pass rushes respectively. But the return of Frank Clark really lifted things. He got 7 pressures. Jones got 7 pressures. Willie Gay and Mike Danna got a pair apiece. And obviously we know that they each, they got 3 sacks out of those 4 pressures that they produced. So in terms of efficiency, Mike Danna and Willie Gay Jr. were at the top of their game last night in pressuring the quarterback.
Yeah, and that's huge. One of the things, and I thought I saw another stat, and this was, I think, from Cody Tapp, our buddy Cody Tapp, tweeted out the Chiefs are 4th in the league in sacks right now.
It's crazy.
Who would have guessed, based on what we had going into the season, that they would be 4th in the league?
Well,
and I want to specify something really quick, because I saw it on the live stream last night. Everybody keeps talking about how Dunlap needs to play more and get Karlaftis off the field. I completely disagree with that sentiment.
I agree.
You do not put Dunlap in a situation where he's playing 50, 60 snaps. You don't put him out there for 70, 80% of the game. You risk huge injury to a player that can be a key player for you down the stretch. And Karlaftis needs the time to work. He is getting pressure. He is having an effect on the game, even if he's not getting home.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. Part of why Carlos Dunlap has been so efficient is because he doesn't have to play a large volume of snaps. He is an older guy, 13th year in the league. I thought it was great that Andy Reid singled him out in the locker room after last week when he got his 100th. Mm-hmm. He's still a guy that can produce that pressure, but you can't ask him to play 60 snaps a game anymore. I just don't think that that's in the cards. So in the meantime, you're getting Karlaftis exposure and experience, and you're letting him stay rested.
Yeah, and you don't have to have him out there for passing or for rushing downs.
Yeah.
I mean, you can have him out there for rushing downs, but you don't have to have him out there for rushing downs. The big thing with, like you said, the big thing with him is keep him on a snap count, keep him low, keep him fresh for the playoffs. If you could have Dunlap and Frank Clark fresh for the playoffs, you're going to be in a great situation going into the playoffs this year, because Chris Jones is starting to round back into form, and he is another guy that is not getting enough credit nationally for what he's been doing over the past couple of weeks.
I can agree with that. And take another step back. George Karlaftis got 7 snaps inside at tackle or nose tackle last night and held up the run defense, held up the possibility that he can play not only the edge position, but play inside for you on passing downs, especially when the loss of Turk Wharton. I think we sometimes forget about that, but that is crucial. With he and Saunders being able to rush from the inside, Mike Danna being able to rush from the inside, it just makes it that much better. And I don't know, George is he's a pretty handy guy. If he were to gain 20 pounds, he might be able to play defensive tackle, at least on passing downs, full time.
Yeah. And honestly, I think that you're looking at a situation where this is a kid that just wants to play. He doesn't care where he plays. He is always going to have a nonstop motor. You're absolutely right. He is holding up when he is being asked to play inside, which is a lot to ask for a guy his size to go inside against in a telephone booth against the centers and against the guards and be able to do that. He's doing a fantastic job. So kudos to him. I think that's a great sign for him going forward. And I think that you look at the rest of the way this defense is playing. The one question you have, obviously, we don't know anything on Juan Thornhill right now. We're still waiting to hear. I feel pretty good about Cook being able to step in as long as he's able to stay healthy. I feel pretty good about the safety position, regardless, even if you lose Thornhill for a couple of games. The bigger question I'm going to have is, are they going to get a guy like Leo Chenal involved a little bit more? And I'm not talking necessarily on those types of downs where they want to have 3 linebackers on the field. I'm talking about throw him out there in the NASCAR package.
Yeah.
Throw him out there and let him rush. Just put him in a situation where he can go. And I'm not saying take Danna off the field. I don't care who you take off the field. But if you're rotating through those snaps, there's no reason why Chenal can't get 3 or 4 pass rush snaps a game. And that's just going to help your defensive end stay fresher for longer.
Yeah, I agree. And it just gives you that another layer of unpredictability for the offense to keep on as well. So I'm all for that. Now that said, they still have to continue to push. Fourth in the league in sacks. That caught me off guard. I did not have that stat today.
Right. Caught me off guard. When I saw it, I was like, wow.
Yeah, right. And when we talked preseason, we thought, if they can get significant pressure and get to the point where they're a mid-tier pass rushing group, they can be a mid-tier, like above the 50% line, top 15 defense overall. And if they continue to use all these rookies, as I look and count this up, it was, that's just coverage. Hold on one second. Let me get all the numbers because this is what stands out to me.
While you're looking at that, the thing that is so funny to me is they had all those sacks last night. And who didn't get a sack last night? Who's the one guy that you would expect that was going to be in
I thought Colin Saunders would have one.
I wasn't talking Saunders.
Oh, no?
I'm talking Snead.
Oh, right.
With the way they've been sending him on pass rush, he hasn't been getting to the quarterback lately, and that's fine. I'm joking about it a little bit, but at the same time, that is another weapon. That is another thing that makes defenses not have a clue what's coming.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Or sorry, offenses. I apologize.
And he's got a knack for it. He did get 2 pressures on the night, so I do want to point that out. Obviously, he just didn't get home. But take a look at what we got from the rookie class. 43 snaps from Josh Williams, 14 from Jalen Watson, 62 from Trent McDuffie, Cook with 37 more, Karlaftis with 36 more. Leo Chenal was up there at 13. Not a season high for him, but a good chunk for what he's doing. That's an incredible amount, and that's what makes me think that, yes, they're good. They're getting the pressure, and at that rate, at 4th in the league, that's a nice number to hang your hat on. But they still have a lot of room to improve with how many snaps the rookies are playing. It's only going to get better from here as they get more experience. They could get to be a top 10 defense.
Absolutely. I think they have the ability to get there, and I think that people are going to be frustrated by Josh Williams getting beat by Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen is one of the best wide receivers in the NFL when he's healthy. And yes, I said that. When he is healthy and when he has been on for entire season, he is one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. I'm not saying he's top 5, but he's probably easily top 10 in my opinion. He is a great route runner, and he has the ability to get open, and he played very well last night at times. So, that's a big thing, and that was a big thing for the Chargers. If they have Mike Williams in that situation, for the entire game, like I said last night, that could have been a different ball game. But you continue to go after the rookies. You continue to have to throw the rookies out there. And quite honestly, I thought Josh Williams played well for the most part. Watson played well for the most part. McDuffie, what are you going to say about what are you going to say about McDuffie? They weren't throwing at him.
I mean,
They continue to not throw at him.
Here's a number for you. Just in the secondary alone, 156 snaps last night by the rookie class. And you beat the division rival that always plays you tough. That's the bigger story coming away from me, is that the backside is helping the front side get that pressure by not giving up the easy passes.
Yep. And, I mean, once you get to a point where you're not giving up the easy passes, then you're able to dial up pressure. Then you're able to take pressure from different places. And I will say, it needs to be said at least that Mike Williams is a huge loss for their offense because I think it gave the Chiefs the ability to attack in ways that they weren't going to be able to do if Williams was still on the field. But regardless, you play with who's available.
True.
Kansas City's had to do that multiple times. They had to do it last night. They were missing 2 of their top wide receivers.
That's what happens.
Yep.
You have to play the guys that are on the field. You can't do anything else.
And before we head out for the day, I just want to say this because it was mentioned by Matt Derrick on Twitter. So if you did not see this, it sounds like we're going to get a possible return to the offensive line that we will be talking about on Wednesday's show. Lucas Niang has to be activated on Tuesday or his season is over. So we will find out whether or not he's available.
Let's hope so. My fingers are crossed. And we should know about that tomorrow afternoon, folks. So make sure you're here. Matt will be with me again tomorrow for the Wednesday show. We will record it after we find out about Lucas Niang. So hold your breath on that one. Let's get forward. I know it's a holiday weekend, but we're going to have content for you this week. You don't want to miss it as we get ready for the next contest. There's a lot coming.
I have a quick question. OBJ's out there. Do you make a call?
I've already made 7 calls if I'm Brett Veach. Yes, absolutely. You continue to push for him and say, you can go talk to the Cowboys all you want. Go visit your old Giants team. That's fine. You want to win a championship. There's only one MVP. QB1 plays in Kansas City. So you're going to have to take 2.8, maybe 3 at the most, maybe with incentives so I can push some of the cap out. You want to get a ring? Come on over.
Okay. Figured that's what you'd say, but thought I would ask.
Yeah. I'm not much of a salesman, but I can lay it out there in plain English. That's for sure. But OBJ, if you want to have a conversation, just let me know. Folks, if you want to have a conversation, let us know as well. The live stream was a lot of fun last night. We'll try to do that here again post-game next week as well. So get challenged, get ready. Hope that you have a good week this week. I know there's a lot going on as the holiday approaches, but tune in to us. We're going to have a show for you every day of the week. Like, sub, and hit the bell on YouTube. Thanks for subscribing and hanging out with us today. We'll have more information on Lucas Niang and more with Matt Derrick tomorrow, and we'll talk to you then.